Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, My Still Beautiful Life. This is just my second video, and today I was going to give a little background, let you know how I found out that I had cancer, and I'm still going to do that. But wow, yesterday was a great day. I felt great. Today, the exhaustion has set in, and let me tell you, even though it's been over a year since my last chemo treatment, and it's been about 6 months, 7 months since my last radiation treatment, I still have these days of severe fatigue. And it doesn't matter how much sleep I get, and it's not something I can sleep away or rest away. It's just there, and I just have to deal with it. And that stuff we'll talk more about later. But guys, cancer seems to be the gift that just keeps on giving somehow. I'll be glad when it gets back to normal. Also, my daughter came home today sick, and so that's always another worry. The flu's going around really bad, COVID's going around really bad, and the medications that I'm still having to take, Kisqali, lowers my blood count just like the chemo did. So although my levels aren't dangerously low, they're still low, and I have to be careful and take care of myself and try not to get sick. So that's another little worry that we're dealing with today, besides the exhaustion. But tired, my eyes are burning. They may be all red and watery. I still don't have any eyelashes and very few eyebrows. I have to draw those on. So my eyes tend to burn and water a lot. And I don't know when my eyelashes will come back. Hopefully they come back. They came back twice and they fell back out. So it's just a waiting game. But yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about all those things later. But today I wanted to tell you how I found out that I had breast cancer. And the symptoms that I had before I found out. The main thing was fatigue. I had terrible fatigue to the point where I was sleeping through my alarms in the morning, and I just didn't know why. I don't do that. I don't sleep through my alarms, but I was sleeping through my alarms. I was exhausted all the time, kind of like I feel now. But there was no apparent reason. There was no medications or anything like that making me tired. I was just tired. But I didn't think a whole lot about it. I realized it, I recognized it, but I thought, just tired. But the way I found the lump in my breast was I just had an itch. And my breast had been itching quite a bit. That's probably the only other real symptom that I had. So I went to scratch one day and I felt the lump. And that's when I called my doctor immediately and scheduled the mammogram. Told them that I had felt a lump, and they said, oh, well, then you need a diagnostic mammogram and ultrasound. So you have to go to your regular doctor and he will order that for you. So I made an appointment with my regular doctor, got in, saw them, they felt it, they immediately sent me to get the mammogram and ultrasound done. So I did that, and after the ultrasound, the radiologist came in and talked to me immediately afterward and told me this does not look good. Fairly certain that it's cancer. Don't wait. You need to go see somebody immediately. So I called and, well, wait a minute. I left that appointment and I think I was just in shock. I was driving home and all of a sudden I just had a panic attack. I had to pull off the side of the road and just sit and catch my breath, calm down, carry on. Tried not to worry until I saw the breast specialist and found out for sure. Of course, you're gonna worry. Also, I didn't want to tell anybody until I knew for sure because I didn't want to worry anybody. So it was several weeks before I could get in to see the breast specialist. I went in, she did the biopsy and told me that day, fairly certain, almost positive this is breast cancer. So don't be surprised when we call you and tell you that. So it wasn't but a few days later, they called me. They told me that it indeed was breast cancer. And we started setting up appointments as quickly as we could after that. And then I had to tell my family and my kids, and that was the hardest thing, was having to tell my kids. So I waited until I could see them and tell them in person, so I didn't tell them all at once. I told my oldest son first, and I think he was just in shock. He didn't say a whole lot. And then I told my youngest girl and my youngest son, so the two babies, I told them together, and I think they were both in shock. None of them said a whole lot, but I prefaced it by, I found it early, I'm gonna be okay. I made sure to tell them that right up front. Somehow, I just knew I was gonna be okay. God gave me that peace, that I knew it was gonna be okay. I told my middle daughter next. She got fairly upset. And my oldest daughter was the last one that I told because she was fixing to get married, and they were going to get married down in St. John and doing their honeymoon down there, and I didn't want to ruin that. So I waited until they got back to tell them. It was emotional for everybody. But we all got through it, and my kids were wonderful. They stepped up and they went to every one of my doctor's appointments. They were there for me through the whole entire thing. Telling my parents was hard as well. You know, nobody wants to worry their parents. And again, like I said in my last video, I don't want to be a burden on anybody, and I don't want anybody to worry about me. So telling other people was harder for me than getting the news, I believe, because I didn't want to upset anybody. I didn't want to worry anybody. But you know, it's part of life, and I learned that as well. You know, I'm sorry. My kids told me that, you know, my daughter told me that I had always taken care of them, and now was their time to take care of me. And no mom ever wants that to happen. I know it does happen. It happens a lot. You know, parents get older and they need to be taken care of, but I'm not that old yet. And my kids are just getting to the point, you know, where they have their relationships and their families, and I just didn't want to put that on them. But they were all great, and I could not have gotten through it without my kids. So that's how I found out, and that's how I told my kids and my family. And in my next video, I'll tell you all about the chemo adventure. So yeah, we'll see you soon. Bye.